Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Naturally Inspired. I'm your host, Tasha Jackson. As we are 1 month away from entering cold and flu season, Naturally Inspired is excited to share with our viewers some safer cleaning and sanitizing tips from an industry expert. But first, we're going to jump into the news because there's been a lot of really interesting things going on lately. And so the latest research is showing that new strains of the SARS-CoV-2 are emerging. So the Delta variant, and I think that there's a C variant out now. Scientists are worried that these strains may mutate even further. So what is the advice now? So the advice now is to continue to practice preventative measures to avoid getting sick twice. And then according to the CDC, the variants have become identified recently, or the recently identified variants, seem to be spread more easily. That means that they're more transmissible. So in addition to that, there are some questions that we want to pose to the audience. And so some of the issues that we have tackled in the past, we're going to revisit today because we have been a while since we have seen our audience. And so one of the first things that we started talking about is high touch surfaces and objects. So how long can viruses be active on unclean or unsanitized surfaces? So on hard, non-porous surfaces, it's going to be 28 days, fabrics up to 2 weeks, glass 4 days, plastic and metal 2 days, and then cardboard 24 hours. And so then the next question is, how does a specially formulated organic salt change the landscape for harmful bacteria, biofilms, and viruses? And so if you can recall on many of the other videos that we have done before, Jessica Chandler, she had explained, and also Charles Vest, and then Gregg Silvers, who's back with us today, had also explained quacks are supported by the science community, and it shows in the EPA's list of products that are specifically formulated to restore institutions and businesses. And so today we're going to be talking a little bit more about that and continuing the conversation that we have had so many times before about how do we keep ourselves, our homes safe, non-toxic, free of chemicals, using products that are going to not only sanitize but clean. And so I'm even more excited to talk about, because the longer we go, the more I've had the opportunity to use these products and really to get a feel for what they're capable of doing. And then, of course, since many of you know that I have 2 kids, how to keep my kids safe, not only in the home, because they are now helping me clean, they're old enough to do that, but then also at school. So how am I helping to keep my kids safe at school whenever hand sanitizer is overly prevalent there? And so today's guest will also explain newer trends in safer sanitizing. So we're going to answer these questions of how often are high touch surfaces and objects to be cleaned and sanitized? How do quacks work? Do cleaning degreasers help with safer sanitizing? And how does quack plus electrostatic technology work? So even if the risks are rare, so if you're still in quarantine, if you're still socially distancing, if you're still wearing your mask in public, if you're still, wearing gloves, things like that, there, of course, is still some risk. And remember that this is our new reality. We're not sure how long we are going to have to manage our lives coexisting with a virus. And so please make sure that you're taking this information seriously. Share the video with loved ones, colleagues, whoever you can, to get this information out, because it's really difficult to get people to understand this kind of new technology that's coming out. People are very wary, but again, I have many of the products here that I've been using, so I can speak to their effectiveness very well. And so joining us today is Gregg Silvers. He is a Vice President of Product Development at GlanHealth's GlanHealth and Ignite Industrial Technologies. Gregg is an industry expert with decades of cleaning and sanitizing experience across a variety of industries. And his personal mission is to provide effective products that create a safer environment and peace of mind. So welcome, Gregg. Thank you for coming back.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to see you guys.
So Naturally Inspired began sharing research data for sanitizing safety and child safety last fall. So before this, we were having a conversation about kind of the progression of these videos. So way back in July, actually, was our very first video where we introduced GlanHealth's products. So I do encourage all of our viewers to go back to all of the previous videos and watch. There are none that are more than an hour long. So, you know, you can clean and you can turn it on and you can get this really valuable information. And so a year later, so now we have done this video series for a year. It's our anniversary. And so a year later now, we've seen contamination with hand sanitizers, misleading product marketing where they have, you know, colors and flavors and scents, and they're very attractive to kids. Confusing fine print on product labeling, conflicting information between science and research data, and suggesting that the continual overuse of toxic chemicals are harmful to people, pets, and the environment. But that information is not getting out. And so that's what we're trying to achieve here is we're really trying to get this safe information out so that people have alternative choices, so that people understand the risks and the dangers involved whenever they are utilizing these toxic chemicals, especially on their bodies and on the bodies of their children. And all of this has given us contrast to compare toxic and non-toxic alternatives. And so again, today we're going to gain some answers to some of these alternative solutions right from the source. So the first question, Greg, that I'd like to ask you is, what is a high touched object?
So high touch would be, you know, basically above your arm length. Anything that's, you know, anything above your head would be a high touch object. Not that you go and try to touch the wall as high as you can go, but typically high touch is something that we'd want to address, because we don't want anything sitting anywhere anyways, because these are microscopic and they float on dust as well as float in the air. So they land everywhere. So I would categorize that as anything above your arm length, or basically your arm length, because you're not going to get on a chair and get above that. So anything above your arm length.
So that would include anything that would be like, for example, kitchen appliances. Let me talk about the top of my refrigerator. I have a cabinet above my refrigerator I haven't used. And I started thinking, well, I want to move some things around in my kitchen and make more space. And so I decided to utilize this cabinet space above my refrigerator. Well, who climbs up, who climbs up and looks on the top of their refrigerator, right? I got up there and it's super, super, super dusty. And so those would be one of those situations where you would, think of, high touch, also think about the frequency that an object is touched. So if an object is reused within 24 hours, that would also be considered high touch. So cars, clothes, countertops, schools, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Nothing inside of a classroom is underutilized.
Yes. Okay. So with that being said, absolutely. All those areas need to be taken care of. Even though you haven't used it in 28 days, the minute you open the door, that virus or bacteria or whatever it is floats in the air and then can land on anything. That's why we've developed all these different types of products, from washing your clothes to spraying in your house to keeping your hands protected. But typically we have to look at cleaning in a whole different, it's a whole different animal now.
Right.
We need to keep up with it and not wait so long, just like the top of your refrigerator. Even though you're not touching that all the time, you never know when you will get on a chair to get up to that higher cabinet and something's there and you touch it and you touch your face or rub your eye. That's all it takes. And including with flu season coming around the corner, there's other things out there. It's not just COVID. There's
Right.
other things out there that are going to affect you. And we try to come up with a program that's going to minimize your exposure to these things. And that's why we came up with the persistence products, because we know that once you clean and everything smells nice and good,
Right.
you're really not doing much, but we want you to make sure that you're covered in the high touch areas, on your clothes, on your hands, on the walls, on the floors, on the chairs, on the whatever you're putting your person on, your hands, you're sitting, you're laying down, even your bed. So we have to look at it a different way. And
Right.
that's what we did come up with a nice little program. And I was authorized to give your viewers a discount code, and I'll share that with you so you can put it on the bottom there. And it's an atomizing kit. It's actually an atomizing gun with some all-purpose surface in it that they can atomize their entire house with it, and keep them as safe as they possibly can, because it's going to last for 28 days. So
Yes, and also the government recommends that these high frequency touch surfaces. So even if you go into a restaurant now, they're always sanitizing the booths in between customers and things like that. And so, again, how often are you exposed to these toxins, right? And so, if you think about that, especially, flu season being October through May, then things are going to only be sanitized even more often than they were before. So again, it's really important for viewers to understand that, you have to think about the frequency, you have to think about your exposure to these things. And so, make sure that you are taking all of the precautions, especially in these high touch areas. So the next question that I have for you is, as the world reopens and research supports safer prevention from harmful germs, what is your advice?
So it's very difficult when you get into trying to fight what's out there, because everybody is claiming that their product is, the product to use. But like we talked the last show, the misnomer of people thinking that they've actually cleaned, sanitized an area, which they really haven't, because you really got to read the fine print on most of these products that say it's got to stay wet for 10 to 15 minutes. And those people doing in the restaurants, the tables, well, we both know that doesn't happen.
Right.
They put a couple squirts and wipe it off.
Yeah.
All they're doing is cross-contaminating. And the best way is to have some sort of product that has a persistence that you don't have to worry about it, that you're covered. And the beauty about the products that GlanHealth has is that the persistence is there. You've got peace of mind that when you come in and you spray your restaurant or doctor's office, that you have confidence in that your customers and your employees are doing the best possible sanitizing they can actually do, and especially going along with using a non-alcohol based sanitizer such as ours. That actually also gives you persistence. So you're touching everything. It's the people that they're washing the table. Well, they don't wash underneath the table. They don't wash underneath the arm rests of the chairs.
Right.
So those places are getting neglected unless you come and use a sprayer that's actually going to get underneath those. So the typical day in the life of a family, they don't think about those things, and people just need to be educated, because this thing is mutating, and it's mutating very fast. And some people, I was listening to some scientists, this thing mutates every 7 minutes.
Wow.
So with that being said, we've got to protect ourselves, because we don't know what's lurking around the corner,
Right.
and what the next one's going to be. You don't know. So we have to look at sanitizing in a whole different way. Cleaning your house, cleaning your car, cleaning your hands, using the right product to that you actually feel comfortable shaking somebody's hand. Because we've seen the new greet is the elbow and or
Yes.
the fist.
Fist bump.
Yeah, but even when you do this, yeah, but even if you do this, you look, it's microscopic. These germs are microscopic, and the way they affect you is if you rub your eye, touch your face, touch your mouth, have an open cut, something like that. But in hindsight, you just have to be very vigilant about what you touch and how you clean. It's very important.
Yeah, and for people that are like, I'm not touching underneath the table, right? Well, if you're in a booth situation, so you're getting into a booth at a restaurant, how are you kind of shimmying yourself into the booth? Usually
Yeah.
you grab the table, or you're getting out of the booth, you grab underneath the table. So
Yeah.
that action, and I mean, just thinking about the way that you move or the things that you touch and being more mindful about it, you will start to remember, oh my gosh, I do, at the doctor's office, I put my fingers underneath the edge of the armrest, right? So just thinking about those kinds of things kind of puts what you're talking about in perspective, because again, people may not be mindful or think that it's not important, but no, once you actually think about how are you utilizing that space and what it is that you're actually touching, then you say, oh my gosh, I actually have been doing it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so can you explain what the quacks are and how they work? So we've explained this over many videos now, but again, it's still a good reminder every time that we have these conversations to explain to people how this works. I don't want to call it technology. It's not. It's salt. So if you can explain the salt, please.
Okay. So there's over 200 different quaternaries. What GlanHealth has done is, and not all of them will bind together, meaning some will, some won't. We've taken the most effective quats, and we've found a way that they're not supposed to bind and stay in suspension, but we've figured out a way so they actually stay in suspension. And one of our quaternaries is a silicone quat. This is what gives us our persistence. Even though it's a microscopic coating, you don't see it. What it is, it's like, let's just say a bed of swords. And that bed of swords is everywhere. And when the virus or DNA fall upon the sword, it kind of gives them a shock and opens up their outer cell. And they die within 15 seconds. So we like to say DNA disruption, because we're not using poison to kill them. We're using these quaternaries that actually attract, meaning say our product is positive, the bad stuff is negative, so they attract. And so we attract them onto those bed of swords or the coating, and they die in 15 seconds. And what we love about this mode of kill is that it's non-toxic. It lasts for up to 90 days. We have documentation that we've just completed 90 days of persistence. Now, just so you know, at 90 days, it's not as effective, but it is effective. So, and it's not a permanent coating. You have to reapply this product in high touch areas.
Right. Because you're
So,
touching it and rubbing it off.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on the table and do this, and you're going to do friction, and the friction's going to wear it off. But it's very important that you want to do it, in my opinion, once a month. You're home. You just go take your sheets off, shoot your bed, shoot your closet. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to hurt fine furniture. It's not going to hurt fabrics, wool carpets. It's not going to affect it at all, other than it's protected.
Right.
So my suggestion is you do it once a month, and you're going to be the most protected person on the block, per se. It's the laundry product. You do your clothes. You put it in your washing machine as a softener. You don't change your soap. You just put it in a softener, and your clothes are protected for like 40 days. It actually makes your clothes soft.
Yeah.
So
I have it here.
Yeah, especially with the kids. Especially with the kiddos that are playing on jungle gyms and playing in school, and they're getting all sorts of germs.
The playground at my kids' school is sand. So you can imagine, I mean, every day my kids come home, and the first thing I say, change your clothes. And this is pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Change your clothes and wash your hands with soap and water right now. Which
is extremely important. It has to be that way because, even though kids, as they grow up, their immune systems are taking in that stuff, and they're becoming immune to certain bacteria and viruses and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we need to say, stop using alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
Right.
It's extremely bad for the kids. It's like 70% alcohol is 140 proof. The kids like it because it smells like cherry or some other fragrance. It's so bad for them, and I believe they're going to find out down the line that alcohol is just doing such bad things, especially in pregnant women. They should not be using it.
Yeah, I agree. And let's turn to travel really quick, because I am getting ready to travel. So here in the Valley, Phoenix Valley, the cooler temperatures are here. The morning time is really nice. It's not, you don't wake up and it's 100 degrees anymore. It's about 80 degrees or 85 degrees right now. It's very nice. And, fall break is coming. And so with flu season also comes travel season. And so Airbnb study reveals that friends and family groups, are the number one catalyst to restoring the travel industry, and have leapfrogged the business traveling category based on booking volume this year. So what advice do you give to property owners, property managers, friends and family groups with long-term residential reservations, speaking to some of those high touch areas, some of those more vulnerable populations that we were just talking about? What advice would you give to that industry? Because again, I'm traveling with my children. We've been so fortunate to get some free state parks passes. So, I'm going to, do a couple of one-day road trips. And then of course my children are going to be, using the restroom we're not going to be staying overnight anywhere. I'm just going to go and come back home. But, you know, other families are going to be traveling for fall break to other places and staying, maybe the entire week. So what advice would you give to those people?
So I travel every other week. I travel all over the country. Um, I can tell you what I do and what I think is the best way, because I'm not a germaphobe, but yet I've been called that many times. But I carry my travel kit. I carry a kit with my body spray, because if I get on an airplane, I'm doing this.
That's
And
this one.
Yeah, and I'm
We
putting
love
on
this one.
yeah, and I'm putting on my hand sanitizer when I get on that plane. I also have a small surface product that I spray when I get on the plane. I spray that when I get into a hotel room. So in my opinion, that's the best, safest way, because we did a study on the remote in a hotel room. It was terrible. It was so bad. The good. So we have a meter that shows what the germs are on a surface. So we did one. I won't say which one it was, but we did one. And normal is 50. It was 7,000. It
Wow.
was so dirty
That's
and
gross.
bad, and the germs, because people are gonna, that's the first thing people do when they get into a hotel room. They sit on the bed, or at least that's what I do. I pick up the remote and watch TV. And you don't realize, but you touch your face over 500 times a day. So eventually, if you're not protected, you're gonna get sick.
Right.
You're gonna touch yourself, your eyes. You're gonna rub your eyes. You're gonna rub your face. You're gonna take some food or something, a candy bar, and touch it there, and you're gonna.
Right.
It's inevitable that you're gonna end up by touching something that's got some sort of germs or bacteria on it.
And I just like to point out, because again, I have all the products and I've been using them. I love this for my kitchen, but um, these wipes, you can travel with these wipes. And, if you're somewhere, if you stay at a hotel, you can use these wipes and you can wipe down anything, depending on what you do. We're actually planning to do some hiking. And so, my son will be 8 very soon, but he likes to be a little bit rough and tumble in the dirt.
Yeah.
And so like these towels would be perfect, whenever he gets in a situation and I have to towel him off or clean him off really quickly, or if you're in a space that is a high traffic area, you can pull some of these wipes out. And I have like a little, it was actually a diaper bag that converts into a backpack whenever the kids are older. So I carry that backpack, and in that backpack at all times, I have that foaming hand sanitizer, because we go to the park a lot. We're really outdoorsy people, and then in the car, I have those wipes, so that again, if I go somewhere that is either a high touch surface or it's dirty, then it's taken care of. And I know that I'm cleaning myself and my children with something that isn't going to cause long-term damage or effects to their health.
And no, absolutely. All the products were made for everyday use, and that's including everybody's activity, because everybody's going to be different.
Right.
They're great. They're great for kids. They're safe for the little ones. There's nothing in there that's going to hurt them. It's only going to protect them. Yeah, and look, if you have a child that just drank some chocolate milk and it's all over their face, it's the best thing to clean it off.
That's my son.
Yeah, no, it's great, or and the dirty hands playing on the jungle gyms or whatever in the dirt, picking up worms and stuff for little boys, and little girls like to do it too.
My daughter does that.
There you go. They like bugs. I don't like them, but anyways, this is the greatest thing because they fit in your pocket of your purse. I take it. I take them everywhere I go. They're in my backpack, and they're easy to get to. You know,
Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah, and I mean, these towels, they come individually wrapped, and one towel is really large. I wasn't expecting to be that big, but I mean, that's totally
It's
travel
huge.
size.
It's
Totally
huge.
travel size. It's bigger. So the package is smaller, but you unfold the towel and it's huge. It's
Yep.
an actual, it's the size of a
A
like a
washcloth.
medium sized towel, like like a hand towel, one you would dry your hands with. It's
Yeah,
really,
they're almost 12 inches by almost 14 inches.
yeah, it's a pretty big thing.
And they're a very sturdy towel too.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like
You
they're
can't,
gonna fall apart.
yeah, you
They're
pull
really
it
good.
just like the way that the fibers are weaved together. You
Yep.
pull it and you can't rip it apart, which is also really nice that I like
Sure.
because you're cleaning lots of different surfaces and you don't want that thing to fall apart in the middle of you cleaning it.
Correct. Correct.
And so I have
Yep.
some fun facts here for our viewers. So so who out there thinks that the steering wheel is the germiest? But did you know that a car steering wheel is 6 times dirtier than a cell phone screen, 4 times dirtier than a public toilet seat, 2 times dirtier than public elevator buttons, and a vehicle steering wheel vehicle steering wheel is 5th on the list of the germiest place in the car. Maybe if you have kids, the back seat might.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's good info because I rent cars a lot.
Yeah. So what are your tips for daily car maintenance? So how do we keep our cars clean and safe and sanitized? Especially like you said, because nowadays, whenever you rent a car, and I haven't rented a car from a rental car company in a long time, but I recently had some mechanic work done on my own vehicle. So I did rent a car for a couple of days. And I just rented one from one of these, like, it's like Airbnb, but it's for cars. And, they sanitize it, but I don't know what they're using, right? I don't know. And I don't know when the previous person, how long it had been or how short of a time it had been since the last person had been in the car, right? So I want to make sure that I'm safe. So can you give some tips out there, since you rent cars a lot, for people to understand how to keep their cars clean if they're in a similar travel situation?
So typically I use these. So when I get into it, I wipe everything down. This is a smaller one. This is typically what I normally use, the smaller one, where I would do the steering wheel, I would do the stick shift knob, I would do the handle of the door handle, inside and outside, in a rental. For my own vehicle, I know not everybody has electrostatic sprayers, but we came up with this kit, protection kit, with an atomizer, which is a fine mist sprayer. So we take that fine mist sprayer and we shoot inside the car. Dries in 5 minutes. Everything around there is perfectly sanitized, and you're good for a long time.
Yeah.
In your own vehicle. If you are renting a vehicle, this is your best mode of action, is take one of these wipes and go over the whole car. They're generously moistened. So there's a lot of product in there, so it's not going to dry out right away. So you'll be able to do a lot of areas, and you don't have to worry about cross contamination with these wipes, because the mode of kill is wet and dry. So wet, and it doesn't have to stay wet for 15 minutes. So this is where we shine above all the rest, because all the rest have to stay wet, unless you've got some some nasty formaldehyde acid that's gonna put holes in metal, you know. But for what's out there on the market, this is the best way to go when you're in that situation.
Yeah. And, while you were talking, I was just thinking about, you know, I've traveled the entire time during the pandemic. So I was driving from here between here and San Diego. And, again, I took my daughter over the summer. We went to the Grand Canyon. I'm getting ready to travel now. And so, having a travel kit is really important. Again, I already was doing a lot of things before the pandemic started. So all I had to do was that kind of ditch and switch. Like I just switched up, because before that the hand sanitizer was only 60% alcohol, right? So, and we were only using it maybe once or twice a day max, right?
Right.
And so again, having, these very small discrete products, like my kids put this in their backpack, and so all I did was, once I finished with that hand sanitizer that we had, I just had this available to me, right? And so you can just, like I said, do a ditch and switch. You can just switch this out for whatever it was that you were using before, and knowing that your products are, environmentally safe, they're biologically safe for yourself and the people that you care about. And, you can have one of those little kits available to you. It's very small in the car, anywhere that you're at, especially, there are some in-person conferences that I know of that are happening this fall. And so again, how do you keep yourself most protected? Well, you can go onto their website and you can purchase one of those kits, and then, use the discount code that Gregg will give us. And, you can have those kits available to you. And then also, whenever you're thinking about these things, you have to think of your peace of mind. Whenever I take my kits with me, whenever I'm traveling, and I know that, I give myself that sense of safety and that sense of security. It's not coming from outside of myself, right? It's not, I'm not saying, that there are people out there that are not necessarily following the guidelines, but I know for myself, because I can't control what other people are doing, right? And so, but I know for myself that I'm doing what I need to feel safe and secure in the environment and to be able to travel. Because there are a lot of people still that are like, no way, I never travel now. It's like, no, you can travel. It's just, how are you best prepared, or how are you most prepared? Well, take these little kits with you, create little kits, but I was creating my own little kit, but now you have a kit, and now I'll just get that because that's way easier.
Well, you look at it and say, okay, I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to drive to wherever your destination is, Yosemite or go to Disneyland or whatever. The gun is pretty compact, but if you're driving, hey, make room for that, because it's peace of mind. And you're going to have the best thing. So what if it's a little big? If it's going to possibly protect you from getting sick, I'm all for it. I don't care how big it is. It could be huge, and I just don't want to get sick.
Right.
So we're going to do everything possible to protect ourselves,
right,
and our children, and our friends and family. Look, nothing's 100%. Can't stop everything.
Right.
But this is the best way to maximize your protection and your exposure.
Yes, and you're doing other people a favor too, because whenever you're sanitizing with them and they last a long time, right? we talked about this before, how long they last on the surfaces. You're
Yep.
actually helping other people because it has that film or that residue. And so before we move on to the laundry thing,
Yes.
I have a question, and then we do have a question from the audience.
Okay.
I leave my products in the car sometimes. Is that okay to do? And
Yep.
keep in mind that I live in a place where in the middle of the day, it will be 115 degrees. So is this product, so let's look at it on the high extreme temperatures where in my car could easily be 120 or 125, all the way down to people that are going to be experiencing snow very soon. I'm sorry for that, everyone that has snow, but extreme heat and extreme cold. Can these products stand up to those?
Good question. Good question. So in the extreme heat, you could have some falling out, meaning some of the products could fall to the bottom. Some of the ingredients, when it's that hot, all you have to do is shake it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's non-flammable, so you don't have to worry about that. But the biggest thing is don't have any alcohol in your car,
right?
Especially at that temperature, because there's been a lot of accidents because they use the pump gel alcohol, and the alcohol vapor spews out of that top, the pump. So it's very, very volatile. So you definitely don't want to have an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Ours is fine. Now, on the extreme cold side, it's a water-based product. It could freeze. So if you leave it in your car, you could be out of luck. If it's Michigan or Minnesota or Wisconsin, when it gets minus 20, you might be out of luck with a hand sanitizer. But I don't think anything else will be living on the surface as well.
That's true.
But in that case, those would be the two issues. In the extreme cold, I would try not to leave it in the car.
Yeah. And so the people that are in the temperate zones, you guys are good to go. Just stay in the temperate zone. Yeah. All right. So let's switch over to the laundry shield. Because again, ever since I found out about your company, and I started using the products, I just am super in love. My kids are super in love. Now their friends are in love because they're like, a hand sanitizer doesn't burn my hands whenever I play at recess. It's amazing. Like, they think it's just the best thing. And so I've read the use instructions of other brands claiming to sanitize fabric. So for the audience who may consider the laundry sanitizer, so let me show it again. So this is what it looks like. So it comes in this big container here, and that's what it looks like. And so for other products, be aware of the fine print. Okay. So the fine print states that 15 or more minutes is required for soaking and air drying before use in a machine washer. Color testing. So not all fabric types are supported. So some fabrics may fade. They may get spots. Some ingredients are toxic to people and the environment. So, one time my hose came out of the wall and water was spewing everywhere. And it's, the water from the dirty water from the inside of the washing machine. And so then, and my laundry closet is outside. And so all of that water then is seeping into the ground, right? And so again, how harmful is that for the environment whenever you have those kinds of accidents? And then some brands do not address coronavirus or SARS-CoV-2. And so let's talk about Laundry Shield a little bit. So how is it different?
Okay. So let me explain to you about germs in your washing machine first. So the day you get your washing machine and you do your first load, it never empties out completely. So what happens is bacteria starts to grow instantaneously. And even though you're washing your clothes and all that good stuff, every time the bacteria is already formed. So unless you're pouring bleach down there and letting it sit, or chlorine, that bacteria is still going to grow. Soap isn't going to kill it. So with our laundry shield will not only take care of that issue, but it puts a film on your clothes and it meshes with everything. We haven't found anything that it's attacked or spotted or discolored. We haven't had any issues at all. And we did do some studies on this product, and it lasted for 41 days. That's what we did the test up to. And your towels, not everybody uses their towels within that period of time. Maybe you have a guest room that's got guest bathroom that you don't have guests for long periods of time. Well, you know, for 41 days, those towels are going to stay fresh and they're going to have no problems with what's out there. So the laundry shield is a very easy to add to your machine. Like I said earlier, you just put it in your softener tray. It's like 3 or 4 ounces, I believe, for every load. And you wash it with every load. You have people that go to the gym that wear the dry fit clothes that, you know, it's tough to get the body odor out. This will sanitize it. This will keep your clothes fresh. And it'll get rid of that, maybe that musty smell that you could never get rid of. And especially, we all know that if you leave your clothes in the washing machine too long, you forget about them, you open it up and it's very musty.
Yeah.
Well, this is what you'd want to use to take care of that problem, because it'll take care of the sanitizing needs of that garment. And you're protected, especially for kids. And we haven't had any problem with it being on the skin, no issues whatsoever. So it's an all-around great product for everybody to use.
And can I just talk to its environmental friendliness? Because it's anti-static, you don't need a dryer sheet. So I have dryer balls that I use and instead of dryer sheets, and I don't even need the dryer balls. So I did a test. I did my own study. So I washed my clothes with it, and I didn't use the dryer balls, and the clothes were not staticky. And so again, you don't have to soak it. There's no damage. There's no skin allergies. Right. You don't have to use dryer sheets or dryer balls. You just
that's the beauty.
Also,
that's the beauty about this product, is that your clothes smell fresh without using a dryer sheet to make your clothes hide the smells that the wash didn't get out.
Right. Exactly.
And this it works really nice. It's an all-around great product. It has a lot of science to it. It does a lot of good things, and I will never use anything else. It's all those other things are so chemically bound. All the stuff you put in the softeners, it can't be good for your skin. You know, right. It's anyways.
And you touched on this a little bit, but I want you to reiterate it again. So if you're using laundry shield, do you need to use laundry detergent in conjunction? So do you need to use both, or can you use laundry shield by itself?
Yes, use both. You still need soap to clean stains and all that good stuff, because it's not a stain remover. So you definitely need this to clean the clothes, your soap to clean the clothes, and the softener will protect your clothes and to resolve any issues that you have with bad stuff.
All right, we're going to move over to food. So my daughter has recently learned how to cook. And I have 2 containers of the wipes actually, because although she's really good at cooking at this point, she's not the best at cleaning. Let's just say that. So she's getting there. I'm teaching her, if you cook, you have to clean at the same time. And so, using those wipes in the kitchen, especially, is really vital to me right now until she learns how to cook and clean without making such a huge mess. Especially eggs. She makes eggs, and egg whites are just all over the stove, and it's gross and whatever. And so can you explain the food prep?
So the food prep is not available in the wipes yet, but they will be. The food prep is basically meant more for a commercial kitchen because it's NSF. So in a home, the all-purpose surface is what you use. You don't need the food prep. Actually, the all-purpose surface is stronger than the food prep, and it's what I recommend to use on a daily basis in the kitchen, in the bathrooms, because it does the job.
And then what about restaurants? So I can use this at home, but would these food prep kits, would these be able to withstand industrial use?
Yeah. So the food prep is made for a commercial kitchen. That's what it's originally for. You would use that strictly in the kitchen. You wouldn't use it in your dining rooms or cleaning tables, or you would use the all-purpose for that. But yeah, it was originally developed for the commercial kitchen. So it can be used. You can still use it in your kitchen, but I recommend the all-purpose. It's a better way to clean.
Yeah, I don't have that one yet.
Which one?
I don't have the all-purpose cleaner yet.
You don't have the all-purpose surface cleaner. It's the one in the wipes. You don't have that yet?
Well, I have this one, but I don't have the spray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to get that to you.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah, but the great thing about these, I mean, yes, I use the wipes a lot because obviously like we're cooking and cleaning every day, but some of these products, they last a long time. So that's another thing too, is because you're using them all the time, like this foaming hand spray.
Yeah.
I've had this, I don't know, maybe more than 6 months now. And we go to the park. We go to the park every weekend. Usually Friday night and Saturday nights, we go to the park. So, I mean, the products last a really long time, which is another thing that I really like about them. Except if you have a child that takes the hand sanitizer to school and then shares it with all of their friends, and then in a week it's gone.
Yeah, so that's a big issue with the gel products that are out there, because ours are all foam or a spray, but typically ours are foam. And the foam that the bottle you just showed me was a 7-ounce bottle.
Yeah.
You only need a tiny bit. And that tiny bit goes, a little goes a long way. When you're dealing with a gel product, you pump that thing, it's quite a bit of product that comes out.
Yeah.
So you go through it faster. Ours will last 3 times longer than a gel bottle of the same size.
Yeah, for the foam, I use half of a pump. I don't even need a full pump.
There you go.
So again, they last quite some time, and my kids really appreciate that. And so we were talking before, like, so last year we were doing Child Safety Month and getting ready for back to school and things like that. And so, again, utilizing these things in the classroom. So let's kind of speak to that industry, because we spoke to the travel industry, we spoke to hospitality, we've spoken to restaurants. Let's speak to schools. again, because again, my kids have already been in school for 6 weeks, but I know many other districts are just back, this last week or, coming up. And so, how would you envision these products being utilized in the school?
Okay, so with that in mind, the schools are a really tricky situation. So the all-purpose product through electrostatic is the only way that you're going to maximize your protection. And let me step back, and hand sanitizing for the kiddos, because the protocol now is before you get in your seat, you put that nasty poison on your hands, that alcohol. Kids are coming home with red and cracked hands. They don't like it. And before they walk out the door, they have to hit that alcohol again. So, and mind you, they're not protected.
Right.
It doesn't have enough time to work. And for a child, and I know we've talked about this before, but alcohol is a carrier, and it goes right into the bloodstream the minute you put on. And by the time you touch it, it's mostly flash dried. So what's ever not going in your bloodstream is gone. Alcohol has to stay wet for 15 seconds in order to kill common germs. So the best possible protection in a classroom is for the kids to use the GlanHealth hand sanitizer, and for the custodians before the kids coming into the class or after they leave it at night, they come in and they spray. It's so fast and effective to use the electrostatic. You use such a small amount. I believe it's 10,000 square feet per gallon. That comes out to pennies when you think about it. So, and it's the quickest way and the most effective way to disinfect is with electrostatic. So my recommendation is at the start or at the end, it gets sprayed with electrostatic. That way you don't need to rub anything. You don't need to spray and wipe anything. If there's any germs in that classroom, they will be taken care of.
And so in the last few minutes that we have, there are white labeling opportunities. Can you speak to that? And then we will close with some final thoughts.
Yes, so white labeling is becoming very, very popular, especially with the best possible products on planet Earth. We've been getting a lot of interest in the white label products. I can't tell you who's doing it because we're under NDAs with these people. They don't want anybody to know. But it's a way for a restaurant chain, a hotel chain to have their own products and to be recognized and brand awareness of their brand. And we're talking with airlines right now. We're talking with hotel chains. So they're all very interested in branding our products. Very exciting times.
Yes. And so if you're a company and you're interested, definitely reach out to Gregg. So how can people reach you besides glanhealth.com and ignitecleaners.com?
So they can call me personally, and I'll give you my number you can put up on there. They can call us. And my email address if they want to send me an email. I'm the one that takes care of that. So I'd be more than happy to help you with anything you need.
Yeah, thank you so much. And so again, I just want to remind people that as a global community, applying whatever we've learned the past year to reduce overexposure to toxic chemicals, especially children, is incredibly important. And we're really trying to do our best to get this information out, to share it with as many people as possible. If you know someone who owns a business that would be interested in, going green, eco-friendly, again, not using toxins in their restaurant or in their business, in their offices, you know, as people are returning to work. You know, please make sure that you reach out to Gregg, you know, make sure that you ask the questions that you need to ask whenever you contact him, so that you can make sure that the people that patronize your business are, you know, walking into an environment that's also safe with, you know, the surfaces that they touch, or, you know, it's not just about the people that they interact with. And so I really want to make that incredibly clear. And so, you know, make sure that you guys check out sanitizingsafety.com. We look forward to sharing additional safety research, data, product innovations with our viewers. There's a magazine now. Isn't that so exciting? The entire magazine includes how this technology works and how it keeps you safe and how it works with the environment and why it's important, especially. And then there are all of these videos you can find there. You can find the videos on my YouTube channel, which is Naturally Inspired Media Productions. On Facebook, it's Community Spotlights. You can find me there. You can just, you can Google my name, or you can put my name in the search and then it will come up. And so make sure that you're regularly checking sanitizingsafety.com, because all of the research articles are there. All of the information that we've shared with you today from the news sources are there. And then if you have any questions, make sure that you reach out through the sanitizingsafety.com website. And then again, until next time, I'm your host, Tasha Jackson. Thank you so much for joining us for Naturally Inspired Media Productions, Awake, Healthy, and Informed. And it's 11:11.